Which is better, the Sunshine State of Florida or the Lone Star State of Texas? Welcome to our channel. My name is Jose, and this channel is called Southern Life, where we explore the states, cities, and areas of the southern region of the United States and beyond, and give you guys reviews and opinions on what we see. Today we're tackling a big issue. Which one of these two southern states is a better place to live? And I love both the state of Florida and Texas. They are both top states to live. Florida with its incredible beaches, and Texas with its affordability and great opportunities. So let's break this down. I recently went to Texas for a second time, and this time I really got to soak in what Texas is about. But Florida, what's Florida about? Let's briefly summarize what Florida is about. The state of Florida has 22 million people. That makes it the third most populous state after Texas and California. Florida was the fastest growing state, but now Texas is growing at a faster rate. And a few states out west like Idaho and Arizona are not far in the competition of the fastest growing states. But Texas has the ability to expand Florida overall. Despite being a great travel destination and a great place to vacation and retire, is constricted in a lot of ways. The state of Texas is almost 5 times larger than Florida in landmass. And while Florida does have a lot of small towns and great beach destinations, when you go to purchase a home and to find employment, you may find that Florida is subpar, and in some categories being worse than states like Mississippi in the deep south. So what does Texas have to offer? Let's briefly summarize Texas. Not only is Texas incredibly affordable, but it's also a top destination for people moving. With 29 million people, it is only second to California in population. Texas has an incredible southern culture that is unique to its own, from food to football to car culture, music, cowboy culture. There's so much influence in culture in Texas that is unique to the state in its own identity. Unique from any other state in its culture and its ways, Texas really is a lone star. With state-of-the-art infrastructure like an interstate system that is above the average, it has grown large cities and metropolitan areas to a scale Texas big. So let's spend a little bit more time breaking down what Florida has to offer. Let's dive into Florida on a deeper level. Known for its beaches and Disney World, many attractions and beach destinations, Florida is a place you definitely want to vacation at. However, living in Florida poses a few unique challenges that you're not going to find in many other states. In the category of beaches, undoubtedly Florida is a winner. While Texas does have beaches, they don't come anything near as close as Florida. And in fact, along the Florida Panhandle beaches, it is not uncommon to see people driving from Texas, sometimes as far as 10 hours away, to be able to see a white sand beach both in Florida Panhandle and Orange Beach, Alabama. If the beaches along the coast of Texas were as good as the beaches in Florida, perhaps Florida wouldn't even have a chance on this list because Texas has so many more advantages. But the beach vibes is another aspect of Florida beaches. It's not just the beach and the water itself, it's the environment that happens around the beach, from the tropical vegetation. Another thing that Texas just doesn't have on Florida. Florida is a lush tropical place, and that brings so much life and positive energy to Florida that Texas can seem a little depressing to some people. So it's not just the water itself, it's the vibes, it's the ambiance, it's the Royal Cuban palm trees that all plays into the beautiful ambiance of Florida. With destinations like Naples, Florida that are luxurious and beautiful, Sarasota and other Gulf Coast destinations, the faster pace more active beaches of Southeast Florida, like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, or West Palm Beach. Undoubtedly, the beaches of Florida put the state on a completely different level than Texas when it comes to being a tourist destination, a vacation destination, and yes, even to live at. When it comes to food, Florida is the winner, but not by far. As we know, Texas is known for having some of the best Mexican food you will ever have, but Miami, Tampa, have a significant Cuban influence, and their Latin American food is not parred by any other states. You still have Jamaican, Haitian, Puerto Rican, and other Caribbean island cuisines. While the southern half of Florida prides itself in its Caribbean and Latin American cuisine roots, the northern part of the state has some of the best barbecue you will encounter in the entire United States, by far surpassing areas that may have more notoriety, but when you actually try their food, it's just not as good as the real authentic barbecue we make here in Florida. For the most part, the weather in Florida is unbearable, the heat and humidity intolerable. But let's be honest, in the winter, there's nowhere else you'd want to be other than Florida. So while the whole entire country is covered in snow, here in Florida, we're enjoying our beaches. For that time of the year, it's the best weather in the entire country. Florida has incredible diverse cities like Tampa. Tampa is by no means devoid of culture. This city has its own flavor, its own style, and 3.2 million people call the metropolitan area home. If you enjoy the water, Tampa Bay, St. Pete, and Clearwater Beach are some of the most enjoyable places in the entire state for those who like to be on the water. Like I said, it feels like a small town because despite the fact that it is a huge city, it has a lot of personality, culture, vibes. And while the beaches in Tampa are not as clear as those in the Florida Panhandle, you don't have to deal with people from Alabama and Tampa. For the most part, the tourists in Tampa are a little bit more affluent. We leave that to what we call the Redneck Riviera. Orlando is another fast-growing Florida city. In fact, it is one of the fastest-growing cities in the entire country. One of Florida's biggest weaknesses is the lack of infrastructure, and Orlando is ahead of the game. Being in a central part of the state, it's been able to expand itself a little bit more comfortably than other parts of the state, especially if you're okay with paying toll roads. There's no lack of things to do in Orlando. However, not only will you get burnt out, but so will your wallet. It's a place where you can really go through a lot of money. Then there's the Florida Panhandle, a contrast from the lively, active beaches along the coast to quiet rural towns further inland. The Florida Panhandle gives you the ability to live somewhere quiet and decent. It's just completely relaxed. And then just drive 30 minutes to Panama City Beach and see a bunch of drunk people from Alabama in squatted trucks. I'm not even sure why you'd want to do that, really. Let's break down Texas. Texas also needs to be thoroughly evaluated before we make this decision of which state is better. Some of the most incredible skylines of anywhere in the United States are here in Texas. We're looking at Houston, absolutely gorgeous skyline. The skyline of a city means a lot to me. You're on the highway, you're getting out of your commute, you see that big skyline, and you remember that there's big, incredible things out there for you. Economically, Texas is a land of opportunity. The state has a much better infrastructure, which is crucial for the economical development of the state. Texas is by far the winner in this category. Not only is it an affordable place to get groceries and housing, it's an easy place to do business. Taxes are similar to Florida. It's not a tax burden state. There's a lot of positive economical opportunities for you in Texas, and many people on my channel say they would rather live in Florida. They miss the lifestyle of Florida, but they just can't afford it. And in Texas, they have found economical opportunities that will guarantee their family a better future. So while on the lifestyle aspect, Florida really has so much more to offer. For the most part, Texas is an unimpressive expanse of highways and small towns that is probably too boring for a lot of people, including myself. I like big cities, and Texas has a lot of big cities, but it's more to the lifestyle than just the small town, big city vibes. It's also those coastal regions. And of course, the tropical vegetation. So here is a point you have to understand when you're considering these states. While Texas has better Mexican food, it is limited to just that category of food. While Texas also has incredible infrastructure, it's infrastructure leading to barren wastelands, not tropical gardens. You're going to have to understand whether your priorities economically are going to surpass your lifestyle desires, because you're not going to get both. It's one or the other, and it's a tough choice to make, and many people are picking the lifestyle option despite the fact that Texas has much better opportunities. Let's talk about your safety and crime. Both of these states are about the same when it comes to safety and crime. They're not the best, but they're also not the worst. Many people in Texas are reporting a lot of vehicle break-ins, and specific types of pickup trucks are a favorite among thieves. And while it is true that some parts of the southern region of the state are influenced by crime from the neighboring country, I'm not 100% sure that there isn't a campaign of misinformation. So if you live in Texas, I want to hear from you the reality of crime in your state. I know in the case of Florida, the city of Hialeah has a horrible reputation for crime, even though it has some of the lowest crime rates on paper of any city its size for the whole country. And a few of the border cities in southern Texas also have the same thing going on, which is, yes, despite the fact that there are these groups coming in and doing illegal activities, it's kind of irrelevant to the lifestyle of the people that live there, and it doesn't affect them in a criminal way. I have heard a lot of break-ins in the San Antonio area from vehicles, and it's a lot of conflicting stories, and I don't know how much of it is authentic related to being near the border and how much of it is actually a misinformation campaign that's out there to taint these communities. So I want to hear from you, the people who live in Texas. Is it real or is it fake? Because I know in the case of Florida, the city of Hialeah has this horrible reputation with outsiders, but if you start looking at their M rate, which is a very good indicator, because that's the one category of crime that cannot be easily manipulated. On paper, it looks very safe along these border towns, but the stories you hear are terrifying. I stayed at a hotel in San Antonio, and the reviews in the hotel said that people were breaking into the cars, and they even had photos of their cars being broken into, and that type of crime is clearly related to the desperation of people that are entering the country. I'm not sure how much of it's real, how much of it is fake, but we did take a poll on our channel, and I'm not the one making this decision. It's you guys, the audience, voted, and by far 3-1, Florida is better than Texas. Not according to me, but according to you guys, the subscribers. So Texas is now growing faster than Florida. The growth in Texas is not even comparable to the growth in Florida. Orlando is the fastest growing area in Florida. What's going on around Austin, San Antonio, it's growth on a scale that isn't even possible in Florida due to the landscape and infrastructure of the state. So Texas will continue to grow at a much faster rate than Florida. I thought the communities being built in Florida were bland and tasteless, but let me tell you, the city of Austin and what they have going on is the most soulless and least identifiable community in the entire country. It is bland, not only from the landscape perspective. I mean, it's a barren wasteland for the most part, but then the types of buildings that are going in are bland. There's not that many trees in the entire city. It is absolutely a tasteless, flavorless thing going on. Now, Houston, on the other, Houston's different. Houston has a lot of flavor, a lot of life, an incredible skyline, incredible Mexican food in San Antonio, lots of I don't even know how to explain, Mexican or California vibes in San Antonio. The place has its own character. But the city of Austin, which is the fastest growing part of Texas, I don't know what type of soulless individual ends up here. If you are going to go with Texas, I would definitely recommend the Houston area, or maybe even somewhere around Dallas or even San Antonio, if you are good with the crime aspect of it. I think I might be mistaken. I looked at statistics for crime throughout the state, comparing cities like Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. To me, I think San Antonio is kind of the riskiest one because of its proximity. It's just located in a spot where so much comes in from Mexico, and I don't know how that really affects the life of the people that live there, but I could tell staying in the hotels that a lot of people were just kind of transient from one point, point A to point B. So if the crime issue can check out with San Antonio, it's a great option. The northern part of San Antonio, I ran into some suburbs that were beautiful. It's kind of desert, but they still have trees and kind of like rock ledges. It was absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And I think for the first time in my life, I got to see a Western type of ecological scenery. Talking about ecology, I don't think Florida is understood from an ecological aspect by the people that are moving here. Florida is a swamp, and there's animals and ecological things going on here that are very susceptible to just pretty much a complete extinction due to development, and that extinction of these species is going to cause massive ecological challenges for the state of Florida that will lead to adverse effects that are going to damage property, people, and even your health. Florida is so misunderstood from this aspect. They're building and developing an ecologically, I don't even know what the right word is, possibly sensitive areas that really should not be tampered with. Nonetheless, it's being done at an incredible rate. Texas has the ability to expand and grow and absorb more people, and I'm really glad that more people are going to Texas. What I'm not really 100% with promoting is ending up in a place that's completely soulless like Austin, which has been through the media, YouTubers, and a bunch of other avenues promoted as this great place. When I got there, I knew instantly that this was a completely dead, just flavorless type of place, and a lot of my subscribers confirmed it. Of course, there's a few people who are moving there from even more bland places, and they have the idea that they moved to some incredibly hip city, something along those lines. I know authentic when I see it, and San Antonio is very authentic. Austin is really got a long way to go. The place is completely flavorless. Houston would be my second pick for Texas. Personally, if I was seeing myself moving to Texas, I would almost certainly say San Antonio. Well, I did see some pretty crappy stuff in San Antonio as far as crime and, the lifestyle there. Being so close to the border, a lot of bad stuff comes through. That is definitely present there. And I guess no place is perfect. There's always a trade-off. Hey, that's my opinion. I did not like Austin. I did not like Fort Worth. And Tyler and Longwood seemed really crappy to me. Hey, that's my review on Florida versus Texas. Let me hear your thoughts and opinions.